rites of passage was given from the man to, or the young man, or the man to the child, child, and or the women followed suit the way that we were supposed to follow suit, however that looked then. But as time went on and we were enslaved, those rites of passage changed. Now it kind of goes and enforces what you say, is that we try this, we do this, we do this. But even when we think about the rites of passage that we have now, or even with our parents and our parents' parents, they just weren't the right rites of passage. When you think about, like when we think about from gang banging, right? That's a rite of passage, right? It's a culture. And if I see you, and women, we do it too. If I come to the big homie and be like, hey, I want to do this, da, 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 there's a rite of passage just to get in that, right? Now, whether it's right or wrong, that's up to us to decide. Now, 9 times out of 10, it's probably not the best, because it leads, I mean, gang banging can only lead to 2 places, right? Death or in jail. Or you can get out of it. I mean, I'm assuming, I don't know, I didn't gang bang, but I'm just gonna stick with the 2 that I know and that I've spoken to people that have. And that was in their past. That's the rite of passage, right? And so I think about that thing, and even now as a mother of 5, what were my rites of passage as a mother? What did I trend down? What did I teach my sons? Because I can't teach them how to be a man, now that's fact, but I can give them how to treat a woman, right? Or I can share with them how to cook, or if they don't have a wife yet or something, right? Wash clothes, do something. But also with my daughters, I have to teach them how to be women of God and women, or women of the cloth, we should say, and wives and mothers and part of the community. These are all rites of passages in that sense. So I want to go back, because we've had those things, but we need to go back to that. And what does that look like? How is that trending? Hello, somebody. You know what I'm saying? How is that trending? Because we don't have that. I can't say, this bowl represents life and take it upon yourself. And, like back in the day where there were things that were passed down and handed down when we think about our big mamas. Come on here. We learned how to cook and sew from our big mamas. Not my mama. My mother taught me how to cook too, but those were things that I sat under. Those are rites of passage for me in my generation as a woman who's going to be married, who's going to have children, who's going to be a working woman, because we knew that it was going to evolve. We wasn't going to be stay-at-home mothers like these women were and running brothels. It wasn't going to be, because my great-grandmother ran a brothel in the Bay Area. It was listen, she had them coming in and out. Hello, somebody. Hello, original. But that's real talk. But they were sharecroppers, and they came this way, and that's how they built life. Tay. Well, she over here laughing at my grandmother being a hoe on under. or a hoe to go. She had her own hoe shop.
Bless it. I was like, really?
No, real talk. But see, that's things that you don't recognize and you don't know about as a person. I could have easily been somebody's what they call them women who run the brothels, madams. You know, I would have been a doggone good madam. I would have had seasoned hoes, old hoes, white
lazy hoes.
But all them hoes was gonna get paid. Hoes to go, honey. But you know what I'm saying? I'm just to make light of that. But definitely, we don't think about that as a people, that we did have rites of passage, and it was lost along the way. So
right,
on purpose,
very
on purpose.
It was
on purpose.
I think so. Yeah,
ordered so.
Well, all of that came out of R. Kelly. So I put I'm feeling good about the group I put together. If we was able to pull that all out of Robert Kelly. When he was the song Throw Your Thong or something, should have known then. He was.
You reminded him of his G, Bob. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, when
Handy Droppers, isn't that what he
the man nicknamed himself the Pied Piper, man. I mean, he told himself with that.
True.
We all know the story of who the real Pied Piper was. He's a guy that came through with music, took all the kids away that they never seen again.
I
I'm about to go Google that.
I just learned.
What is music?
The story of the Pied Piper, right? It was a
about to Google it.
It was a village who got overrun by rodents. A guy came through and said, "I can get rid of your problem." He tuned his music to get rid of the rodents. The town didn't pay up, so he switched his tune to the kids. When he played his flute, the kids followed the man. He took them away. Now, if you look at the story, after he took the kids, they never seen them kids again. He took the kids, but they followed him because of the music. And the man named himself, "I'm the Pied Piper in music." He telling you. He told you.
Wow.
His music, it was Pied Piper and all right.
Yeah. Right, it was. I don't see nothing wrong.
And then want to step in the name of love.
But didn't he write Age Ain't Nothing But a Number?
Yeah.
Aaliyah song?
Yeah.
Okay,
He was singing it.
we can move on then. Because he wrote that song, right? Age ain't nothing but a number.
It's a lot of people that's going against R. Kelly that's using his talent to get their money.
Yeah. But let's be very clear. That's something that needs to be said often and we forget about. There is nothing greater. There's two things I always say. One, nothing brings about more appropriate behavior than public scrutiny. Nothing. So scrutinize until he realizes his bad behavior and needs to change and then evolve. That's the second thing is nothing is better than a natural consequence. If y'all don't let the all that is in the isness, not the religious isness of God, because that comes with its own limitations and boundaries, but the truth of everything of a natural consequence that corrodes around your own energy that you create, that you vibrationally attract to yourself, if you don't let that manifest in that man's life, because you do not understand what goes on in here. You can live and walk in hell every day, all day. I would prefer an ass whooping over what is going on in here. When I would prefer somebody come and tear my ass up, please. At least the pain will stop when I have to address my own self. So it's either that or you die. And blessings to the predator that dies. Blessings to that situation. And may he have mercy. And may that be blessed. And then the same thing is, I say the same thing that we are giving, the same grace that we tend as a community to give to our celebrities needs to be given to our neighbor and the person that is unknown, because we don't do that either. And then we look and we will hold and harbor that hate as a community for that person, but then we'll turn around and be like, but I still jam with R. Kelly. Be fair all the way around the table. You know your uncle, you know your daddy, you know your auntie, you know your cousin was doing, hold them accountable. Hold them accountable by the public scrutiny, and then allow natural consequences to take their way, because we all know Ashley doesn't believe in the judicial system. So,
that made me think about something that we always talk about in my house. Is called compartmentalized grace. So we'll just lead right on into that, about a conversation about compartmentalized grace, because it's a trip how I'm sure we can all tell a story, like even with me, like where. Anytime you're in a relationship with anybody, any type of a person, whether it's your brother, I think we talked about this before, whether it's your brother or your sister or your friend or your husband or your boyfriend, it doesn't come without conflict, right? And so like when I say the phrase compartmentalized grace, I'm like, I could forgive my husband for doing this, but if my sister does this, she's cut off. I'm not talking to her. Like that segue is kind of like what you were talking about that we do. What is that? Like, what is that all about? I'm a believer, so everybody knows that at the end of the day, she like, let me get the mic.
If I can.
He loosening it.
No, because.
So you feel me?
Because you touched something regarding that when you had said that point, and I think the compartmentalized grace where, man, actually be cool, we can buy, but there's certain rights over relationships. I mean, Pete, that's the big homie. So what he can do and get away with is not what you can do. But also what you can do and get away with is not, because we hold each other to different expectations due to what I need in different personalities. See, a lot of times, because I'm not the whole complete me, I need a piece of each of y'all to fill in what I'm missing. So Phalange, I need you to hold up that righteous component. So our relationship is going to be built on the expectation of And it may not be communicated in that sense, but it's going to be an expectation nonetheless. And how much do we get caught up and entangled into that expectation or weave?
Come on.
I never talked to what I really needed from Ashley, but just from being around and just hanging out and being, then it's an expectation. So as soon as you don't deliver, it's like, oh, this nigga. Right?
Let me talk. Damn it.
She was like,
Let it off. This
Yes.
is it. Okay, so let's be real. Okay, so I need to do more of this. I think I'm gonna do a lot of this in 35 days. So here's the thing, right? The idea, there's two things. The idea of separation is something that was put into us from slavery. Europeans believe in separation, hence why race even became an issue, because race was not an issue at all with us. We didn't even know about race. Race is an English term. Okay, so let's go there. The idea of separation is ridiculous, but it's used as a form of control and as a form of creating rules and boundaries through manipulation of that sort, right? But it's only one soul in the room. Because if your body dies now, your soul goes back to which it came from, and your body turns to dust, but there's only one soul. Your soul, my soul, our soul, it all is exactly the same soul, hence the unity that every religion speaks about, right? So the idea of compartmentalized, I said that right, grace, is based off of the idea of separation, which is actually false love. It's not love at all, it's hate. Because there is no difference. So if I hold you to an expectation, number one, I'm also acknowledging a lack within myself.
You better speak.
So then that's clue that I have to do my work, which naturally forms in relationships when people get involved with other people. Having the expectation is because you haven't done your work to become whole first, because you have no needs. Because when you're whole is you're just whole as one, just one. So you have no needs, because in your wholeness, everything is yielded to you by the grace of God that is you as a fleshness person. So as you continue to do your work, you begin to understand that. Now I talk a good game, but when you become my man, there are expectations as a result of where I have to work, and nothing will show you your work better than the intimate relationship. So you also have to understand that compartmentalized grace is such a beautiful thing if you're aware on how to use it to do your work. If I'm willing to let you get away with something and not you get away with something, why? Because why does anyone have to get away with anything at all to begin with? Why can't it just be everyone is experiencing every experience and then living with no judgment?
Yeah.
No judgment of you, because even if I judge you, I'm judging me.
Right.
Because it's a judgment feeling in me. You can't judge, you can't feel anything outside of yourself. So every feeling you feel is within you, it's a reflection of you. So if you're my mirror and you're mirroring to me something that makes me feel uncomfortable or not good, where am I not in line with God? Hold on. God's telling me that that's not the direction and the perspective that he has.
Yeah.
Anytime you feel any negative emotion, change your perspective. Anytime that you're going through where that's acceptable for you, you're not acknowledging what you're lacking within you. On top of someone else's behavior, you're also not having the compassion to even offer the clarity in your language to help that person evolve in that moment. You have a duty. It's only one soul in the room. And as long as one person is lacking anything, we all are lacking everything. And that's something that needs to be acknowledged as well. So there is no difference. There is no separation. And the moment, come on now.
Don't
Come on now. Come on.
The only thing that I will add to that, because she really did tap it out, is that for me it's a trip, because if you know me really, 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 really good, and I always say that because I learned something in 2018. I learned hella stuff in 2018. I'm gonna look at it. I learned hella stuff in 2018. But one of the biggest things that I learned is that everybody don't know me. Everybody don't know me. You got people that you've been around for years and years and years, and they don't know you. But they think they do, but they really don't know you. So that was my disclosure. So if you know me hella good, I'm a very gracious person. A very rubbery, flexible, sometimes too bendable, and which makes me vulnerable too. And so, but I'm very gracious. Like I don't have those type of, I don't put those type of expectations on me because you're looking at somebody that came from somewhere that's still coming from somewhere. And so to me, it's a level of arrogance if I don't give you a pass or if I don't show you grace, because for me to be able to teach people's kids, for me to be able to go stand before dignitaries in the Capitol and all of the other things that God has blessed me to be able to do, I've only got there by grace. So how can I hold you captive to your mistakes or something that you did? Or I have feelings. My feelings get hurt. I'll cuss sometimes and go into spaces like, what the? But I don't hold that. I would never hold a person captive, because if that was done to me, then I wouldn't even be able to sit at the table with you amazing individuals right now. And so for me, I always feel like compartmentalized grace. Sometimes I laugh because I'll be like, you could forgive, I was going to say a derogatory word. You could forgive the person that you lay down in the bed with or that you had your kids with, but then you can't forgive your sister or your mama, or you have this super grudge, with somebody that you call your best friend, but we just watched you go through all of that, and so you're choosing to be that way. I think you got something to say, huh?
I do.
That even when we talk about forgiveness.
I was going there.
We gonna get that's gonna take a whole nother.
Because it's all in the same ball game.
We can't.
Okay, because I'm not gonna speak on that. Then we're gonna stop there. But
Yeah,
I'm going to
'cause
go
that's a
ahead
whole nother section.
and stay with the CG. I'm gonna stay with the CG.
Compartmentalized
Grace. So I just want to say that God doesn't compartmentalize His grace. So why do we? Hello, somebody. Pimp, take the mic from me. Take the mic, Pimp.
Hey, now,
Hello, somebody. We all believers up here. If you believe in the universe, you're still a believer. You know that
God created it.
Hello, somebody. I'm gonna drink my water.
now on that subject, I ain't even gonna try to say that word because I've been trying to practice in my head and it won't come out. So, I
can teach you.
I don't believe myself right now, so
Compartmentalized
Just
grace.
think about
what she just said. Now, to really speak on that, right? Why we do what we do when it comes to that is really because we do have different expectations on people by how we deal with people. I can forgive my wife to a certain extent over something my brother might do because my brother that's not expected. It's certain things like in the hood. It's certain things like we all got certain people that play. Like in the hood, you know who to go to if cats is tripping. I got my cats that'll go to war with me. I got my cats that'll get money with me. I got my cats gonna help me go get these women. So when there's certain things like you don't expect your killer to turn on you, but you don't trust the dude because basically he a male hoe. I don't trust you to be faithful because when I'm with you, we're doing stuff that's not faithful.
Right.
So with your brother, I can look at my brother like you're my brother, you're my blood. There should be nothing that'll make us cross each other. So if a family member crosses that pain is a different pain. Because you're looking like our bond goes where we came from the same people. Our bond should be unbreakable. There should be nothing that line can cross. Like to this day, I'm 40. Out of my brothers and sisters, we've never had an argument or a fight. We might disagree. We've never fought. Because that's just we just don't do. I see other families do like, man, y'all fight your brothers and sisters? Like, y'all crazy. Like, whatever that situation is, we should be able to squash that before it even gets out of hand.
Right.
Now, with a spouse, some stuff is different because we don't do stuff the right way. We don't get to know each other. We don't become friends. We don't do the dating, courting, and know each other. We jump in flesh first. You look good. She thick. He's sexy. We're going to start from this, and we learn everything else later. Right? So
You don't even like that.
Yeah. So when a mate is involved, your expectations is different because you really don't fully know that. You learn them. Like dating an individual, you don't know that person until you move in together.
Hello, somebody.
Then you like, man, this nigga feet stank. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know he snored that loud. Yeah. Or why she take the covers?
Yeah. Thought that was just us with the covers.
Yeah. Certain things.
Really?
Or so it's so many things that in a relationship we're learning each other. That's a relationship. Yeah. Let's learn each other and make it work. Like I remember when I got married, my thing I told my wife, I was like, the question that came to me before we got married, I said, are you willing to reap what I sowed? Because understanding that in a relationship, there's certain things, okay, it's some baggage that come with me.
Yeah, yeah.
And with that baggage is going to be expectations. You expect, like,
That's true.
like I had to tell my wife, look, I wasn't raised to be a gentleman.
You gotta teach me.
So if there's some things that you expect me to do as a man that I'm not doing, you're going to have to say something. I wouldn't talk to open your door. I wouldn't talk to walk on that side of the street. I'm like, fool, if the car come and get out the way, like, I'm going to get out the way.
We ain't saving nobody. If you better jump. You better jump.
You know?
And if you see me just if you see me move quick,
Like, yeah, because you know, I'm, because when you look at it, you know, our thing is, my mind state was survival. If we walking in the hood and these cats pull up shooting, I'm not, a man jump in front of the bullet, why we just can't both duck? You know, why we can't just both duck?
The reason why you both can't duck is she might not have seen it from your perspective.
Now, I'm going to grab you, baby, get down.
That's a duck together.
Let's duck. But now, you feel me? But yeah, but at the same time, right now, her expectation of a man is if somebody's come shoot and die for me.
Yeah.
Now that's something I gotta learn. What you mean? You know what I'm saying? But now, see, like as from a woman's perspective, the expectation of a man is protect me no matter what.
Yeah.
But is she providing the peace no matter what?
Yes.
Yeah. But now,
She petty.
yeah. But
But I get it. I get it.
so expectations, it goes by who you're with. You know, like your siblings. Expectation is high because you know everything about me. You know my intimate secrets. You know my hurts. You know my pains. You know what can hurt me. You know what can bring me joy. You know me. So certain things, like if my sibling crossed the line, I'm like really? Like I don't. That's like it's nothing in my mind that's gonna make me expect you to turn against me. When it's friends or spouses, there's always that room. Like how you said, I know people my whole life. You don't know me. So that's always back there. With your siblings, that thought ain't there. You know me. I know you. That should not happen.
I would like to interject and say people evolve. We will never know you. I'm in the mic. I'm in the mic
Now.
to the side though.
Now,
To the side. Pip,
Now,
look at it.
see,
Pip, look at
but-
my hair. Pip, look at my hair from the side because I just want you to stare at what I just said. Look at my profile from the side, Pip.
but listen. But now
Pip,
with that,
look
right?
at my profile.
But now with people do evolve because I evolved, and that's why I give grace
And
because
people
grace is
don't
given
see
to me.
You, won't see you the same. Those that knew you then
Don't know you now.
don't know you now.
But with that, right? With evolving,
Yes.
you know, everybody does evolve. But just because I change doesn't mean the expectations have.
Yeah, but yes.
You know,
that's true.
like me evolving, right? Me evolving.
Expectations
Go away. If you're truly evolving, let's be truth about it. If you're truly evolving, expectations have to go away. Otherwise, you're staying. You're spinning.
Yeah, me
You're
too.
growing
I'm gonna let you
wide.
disagree after I disagree.
You're growing wide,
I'm gonna disagree first.
You're growing wide, not tall.
No, but see,
Look at it
now-
from the perspective of growth.
okay, but now from growth, right? Now I have evolved to not to the point of being the man I want to be, but learning. Now there is some things. Now I have evolved to say, okay, if that car come or that bullet was fired, I will step in and protect my wife. Because I have evolved to that where I'm like, protect what's mine. That's mine. Protect it.
Right.
You know, but there's still expectation. Okay, if I'm evolving, I expect you to evolve too in certain things.
Absolutely.
So your what you expect never goes away. It might change, because if we all figured that we drop our expectations, they leave, then you're not going to grow.
Expectations sets you up for failure. Expectations.
I think
the definition of expectation needs to be laid out more so than, because our definition of expectation is the same. We understand it. Yours is more, I don't like requirement. I don't like requirement because that love has no requirements. It's more like what's necessary for you. What's necessary. It's not an expectation. An expectation is a guarantee you're going to be disappointed because it's a have to. It's a have to, you must, and if you fail, I lose. Yes, versus, right. And I'm saying like this is necessary for us to grow. This is necessary for us to be cultivated. Like, it goes back to the definition of expectation. What is your definition?
A strong belief that something will happen or be in the case of future. So some synonyms to that is assumption, presumption.
Belief is what?
That's
nothing more than a thought.
Nothing. Yep, and it's an
all.
expectation of
Dissect it all
what
the
we
way.
expect people to
Your
live up to,
personal belief.
and people don't live up to that, and that's why I said
Now-
expectation always fails. And
Palabra.
Doesn't mean you're holding them to, or you're changing a standard.
expectation
Like, I don't gotta
goes
hold you
with
to a high
standard.
standard to have expectations.
No,
Go
but
for it.
expectation go hand in hand with a standard.
Hold it. Go.
I love that you read that definition.
Yes, please break it down further, brother.
What I would like to do is stand up for expectation as a protection.
Okay.
Expectations protect me because we all have roles to play. Starting from the family structure, we can go all the way back, even the way the lynch is, and we can go back to culture, we can go back to rites of passage. We all have roles. So if I have a role, whether it be in the household, there's an expectation for you to play your role. And because we're birthed in that, because we're oriented in that, it's not semantic, it's not rocket science, it's not even unbelievable that we would take these roles outside of the household.
Okay.
So when we start forming relationships, even older, more mature relationships, those same expectations as a protection are going to be there because man and wife has a role. Student, teacher, there's a role to play. As a student, I'm expected to play a role. With that role, there's going to be expectations. So if I can look to you and your role as a teacher, because we all have some type of idea of these roles, being that we're in a society, that protects me. It protects me to let me know what's required of me, and also protects me to know what's required of you. So with expectations, I'm seeing it as a protection. Why? Because we're all fitting into this role in society.
Okay.
From an individual purpose all the way back to the workforce. You go to work and you're actually expected to be on time. Why? Because you got a role to play. You got an on-time role because everyone's expecting a work product. They're expecting a performance out of you. And I don't think it's no difference from, you can't really break it down and compartmentalize it gracefully or ungracefully and say, oh, well, expected roles are only in work, are only in family.
Hold it. Terms that go hand in hand. We are talking about expectations. And then when I think about that, I think about boundaries. Mm-hmm. When you begin to say role, a role are boundaries, not expectations. Because again, I go back to what I stated before. Expectations always fail us. Because we entrust, when we say expect, we entrust what we believe in a man. And the Bible says, do not put your trust in man because they fail us. That's expectation, right? When we set up a belief that someone is going to do something or whatever it is that we need them to do for us, that's an expectation. But when we begin to put limits and boundaries, then we place ourselves in roles. So if I'm your wife, there are boundaries that I should never cross. If you expect me to cook every day and I fail you, because that's what's going to happen, because I'll be tired. So I need you to step up. But if that's the expectation, I will fail you. And then there's disappointment, then there's hurt, then you might be feeling disrespected, and all these, Pip, get that mic back.
I got something to say, but go ahead.
I'm just saying, so we're crossing. He was like, girl, you talking about marriage, I know about this thing. But all I'm saying is that we're mixing a lot of these things, and not understanding in its validity what they really are to us within relationships.